Hey guys and gals. Hey guys and gals. What is good? What is good today? What is good today? Let's go. Let's go. Thank you for being here. Thank you for dropping by. Let's go. Turn it up. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Truly is. Let me check. Do quick mod stuff, guys, gals. Okay, bear with me, and we'll get to things here shortly. Turn it up. Do quick. Yes. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Let's drop this for fun. I don't know why I do that. Actually, I do know why I do that. What am I talking about? Let's go, because it's funny. That's why. Let's go. Okay. All right. Get focused. Here we go, guys and gals. Just drop in some quick comments in the chat. Again, appreciate you being here, man. That's so awesome of you to drop by. If you're watching this when it's not live, oh man, you're awesome as well. Let's go. Thank you for hitting the play button. Lurkers and twerkers, much love. All right. Quick shout outs. At least I'm gonna try. And then we're gonna get to things. I like to shout out supporters and that, so you guys know. I appreciate you. I appreciate the views. You guys keep this thing going. Keep it going. To be honest, I like kind of doing this teaching thing too. I won't lie. It's kind of fun. And you guys dropping by and watching the content, that is so great. So great. Okay, I'm just looking for the information I need. Here we go. Quick shout outs. Let's go. Shout outs also to Lurker and Twerker in chat. Let's go. Shout outs go to Nicole Trey 66, Bart number 1, Jim Jam 1238, Kazzer 20, Gavin 555, Kamikaze ML. Kamikaze, I hope you're still around, my guy. Don't kamikaze yourself, because I love the fact that you're around here, brother. Appreciate the support. Let's turn it up. Shout outs also to iDucky. iDucky. That's for you, iDucky. We're almost done, guys, gals. Let's turn it up for Wicked Stat. And come Papa is 9. And let's go. I love this. My man. Let's go. Slow motions. Turn it up. You guys are all awesome. Every single one of you. Supporters and followers. You guys are great. I've been kind of pretty busy lately, guys and gals. I'm trying to, I don't know if you guys like when I go onto a tangent or whatever. I honestly don't know. But last couple of days, I've been working, right? I'm working on an app right now, a program. I'm making actually a program. I've done a lot of different programs, a lot of different things, but I'm working on a new project. Right now I have one class. Yeah, it's a class. Literally 1,400 lines of code. It's insane. A lot of repetition code, if you will. It's because, just different values, different output returns kind of going on, right? So you'll know when I share with you guys and gals here in Twitch, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to share the project I'm working on. For now, right now, guys, it's a secret. But literally the class is like 1,400 lines. I'm going to try to shrink it down, but I think it's necessary. A bunch of for loops and stuff going on as well. All right, this is for you guys and gals, supporters, because I love it. I love your support. You guys are so great. Every single one of you beautiful, intelligent people. Beautiful, intelligent people. Yeah. And that's the length of my song, guys and gals. That's why I'm doing these kind of videos, other than music videos, right? Because, I can't sing. And I only have one chorus. Literally one chorus. Yes. Hilarioso. Okay. This is for you guys and gals, supporters, lurkers and twerkers, followers, subscribers. Man, you guys are awesome. That's right. That's my fam, my brothers and sisters, showing the love, throwing out the support for you guys and gals. Let's go. Okay. I think it's time to work. What do you guys and gals think? Time to work? Time to work. Let's get some learning done. We'll get right into this. Flick the old switch in the old brain cranium. It's time to learn, guys and gals. It's time to learn. Great to have you. It truly is. Thank you for being here. All right. What are we working on? I'm not going to get into too much detail, but we were working on if-else statements last course slash lecture. Guys and gals, as a heads up, all right, to let you know, this is kind of this is a class type lecture that I'm doing here, going through a course outline, course program. So if you want to learn C++ and this is your desire and goal, I am glad to help you out because, you know, I love learning, and let's do this together. And I hope the plan is to help you guys learn as well and to make it as easy peasy as possible for you to learn and understand. Now, bear with me. Sometimes I might tend to over-explain stuff. I don't know if I am or not. I don't know. But the goal is to make sure that you guys and gals fully understand what is happening under the hood. Let's go. All right. Again, here to support you. Fully support 120% with your dreams and aspirations of learning coding. What, you know, it could be any coding language for that matter, but we are doing C++ over here. Okay, one quick thing I would like to add. I was thinking of doing some more if-else statements. Hopefully, you know, again, guys, gals, you're following the series, you're up to par, you know what's going on. We're going to try to keep moving forward here. That's kind of the goal, right? I will kind of go over it, maybe explain this a little bit, just as a refresher, and then we're going to keep moving forward. Again, I appreciate you being here and watching, and you got to follow the series, okay? Again, it's pretty much a lecture, and we're going, you know, step by step here, okay? In order to get to the top, you must climb each step. Let's go. As a matter of fact, there's one quote that I like putting up. Did I put it up there? I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time trying to look for it. Of course, everything I have and own document-wise is 3,000 miles long. Is this it? Maybe. Oh yeah, this is a good one. Quotes in the chat for you guys and gals. And another one here. These aren't the ones I was looking for. When they say it's impossible for them, not for you, right? Isn't that awesome? And losers quit when they fail, but winners fail until they succeed. That's right. You guys and gals, every single one of you winners. As with every stream, I like to mention, I do kind of go on a tangent sometimes. Thank you for your patience and understanding. Okay, all right. Let's see if I can find that quote. Success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. Winston Churchill. Let's go. And if I could just find that one other quote of mine, that would be great. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. I found it. It's beautiful. Okay, there we go. You learn more from failure than from success. Okay? Don't let it stop you. Failure builds character, right? Positive mindset, guys and gals. Positive mindset. Turn it up. Okay, I did it. I found it. So we can continue on here. One last thing. Is that in here? Yeah, it is. Okay, here we go. And then we're going to get to learning. Of course, I'm my own mod over here, so for me, it's like, oh god, I want to keep moving forward. I wish I didn't have to do all this mod stuff. Okay, but it's all part of it. All right. Yes. Okay, so what I wanted to explain, else if, here we go. This document here I need to open. I'm going to talk about else, the else statement, right? Here's a question. The reason I'm bringing it up because my code, and I haven't actually showed you guys and gals yet, but between an if and an else, you can also have an else if. It's sort of like, and also else ifs take parameters and arguments. So, like for example, let's say x is equal to y, right? That's the purpose of an else if, is to have like another argument or another output or return. If it's not this, it's going to do this. If it's not this, it's going to do this, sort of thing. All right. So I have my program, because there's a lot of going on, and again, if you guys stay tuned and watch, and I'll share that project that I'm working on with you guys and gals, but I'm not quite done yet. I'm getting close. So stay tuned. Give me a week or so. I've been working on it for maybe a week or two, and we're getting close. Okay, so if let's say this is actually no good here, so I'm just gonna comment that out. Well, it don't matter, right? I can print something to the effect of I mean, guys, gals, coding's your oyster, right? You can pretty much, if you type things properly, you can pretty much just put in whatever you want, because if it's your own code and you're doing it at home or whatever, obviously you could do whatever you want, right? Some companies, if you plan on working for a company or a business, they might have certain things that you want to do and certain things they don't want you to do. So unfortunately, you have to kind of comply if you want to get that paycheck, right? But if you're like an indie developer, I recommend I support you in that dream, right? It's, again, guys, it's not going to be easy, right? There's going to be a lot of hard days, okay? The thing about those kind of days is you can fall down, you can fall on your face. The key is to get back up, okay? You got to keep going, right? It's not going to be easy, okay? I'm just going to give you a heads up. I am going to try to make it as easy as possible, though, for you guys to learn. It's not really that hard to learn, but there's a lot to learn, right? Okay, I'm going to just put something like both values are exactly the same. I'm just trying to get back into the streaming groove here, guys and gals. Been kind of working last few days here pretty hard. My little story as an aside, I actually went to go run out of my office here, full on running, and I kicked it's a bar stool, and it has those square wooden legs, and I think I broke my toe because it looked a little crooked. So suffice to say, the last couple of nights have been pretty hard nights for trying to get any sleep. Because I'm telling you, I don't know if you ever had a toothache, but my foot felt like it was shot. It's getting better now, guys. It's getting better. But holy camole. I toughed it out. I didn't go to the hospital. I did my own medical. You know? Living off wieners and bolognas here, okay, guys? All right? So, yeah, a little bit better, I do have things kind of secured and managed and supported. So I can walk a little bit better, which is great. All right, back to else ifs, okay? So you can also, we'll talk about it more, else ifs, all right? But I thought I'd throw this in. Let's say you have a situation where you want to return if the value is less than another value, right? You would return this. If they're both equal, you would return this. In this kind of situation, essentially, that's pretty much how if, else if, and else work. Okay. So the thing I wanted to bring up was, with an if statement, you actually don't need an else statement. Okay. It's kind of like an else is like an optional thing. So let me bring up something here, because some people, like even my mindset was like that. Oh, well, you have to have an else statement if you have an if statement. Oh, you have to have an else statement if you have an else if statement. Actually, that's not true. So I could actually run this. This is obviously would still run, guys, right? So just kind of break that mindset. If you think that you need an else statement with an if, or if you think you need an else statement with after an else if, that's not true. Okay, so let me bring up something here. And do you have to end else if with an else? Okay, that's the question. Okay, do you have, I'm not the greatest speaker, guys, but I try. Okay, do you have to have an else after an else if? And the answer is no. You do not have to end an else if you have a bunch of chains, right? So you could chain else ifs, which is what I'm doing, right? Right? This is chaining, right? Obviously that makes sense, right? You might hear that word. That's another coding lingo word, is chaining, as a matter of fact. Anyways, we'll get that into that another time. Let's keep moving forward. So you can have a bunch of else ifs. That's why code can get kind of lengthy, right? If you don't want to use else ifs, we can get into talking about switch cases, but that's in the future. Okay, stay tuned. All right, so in this case, I only have one else if. All right, and the point I wanted to make is you don't need an else with an else if. Okay, even though your brain is like, oh my god, I must have, it needs one, kind of like a period at the end of a sentence sort of thing, right? But as a matter of fact, if I build this, shouldn't have any issues running this, no problem. And of course, we got no return at all. X is okay. If X is greater than Y, okay, which is true, then go into here. If X is, oh, see, that's why nothing returned, guys, because none of the statements are true, right? Hopefully you've been following along. So I could go like this, just so we have some sort of return. I'm just gonna go like this, and I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna stop being lazy. Okay, I'm just gonna have a greater than. Okay. Let's see. X is greater. Okay. Some to that effect. And then same thing here. Go like this. I'm just gonna get rid of that because all we're doing is basically leapfrogging values from one value to another. That's all that is. Okay, Control B and run. Okay, we finally, at least we get a return, right? And as you can see, they're both else ifs, right? And the reason we're being adamant about using the else if is because we want to have parameter arguments. If you notice, an else is kind of like one of those situations, if none of this stuff happens, then just return something, right? Like you could return, I don't know, program error or something. It could be anything, right? Whoops. Let's use a string literal, right? Something to that effect. Okay, and then I'll just put a \n in here because why not, right? Of course, these values are all hard-coded, so we probably would never see that else, but that's okay. All right, so, oops. Now, what's happening here? This is good, guys. Okay, so I just ran the program. I built it, and then I ran it, and then I get this linker error. Okay, it's kind of a linker thing. So this one caught me off guard, kind of in my beginning learning days. I'm like, what is this? Oh, the humanity, I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, what is wrong? There's nothing wrong with my code. Everything's fine, right? So what it is it's just a matter of looking at your taskbar and going, oh, look, my console is still open, right? If your console is still open, you can't build and rerun. Okay, there we go. Boom. Problem solved and run. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go like this. So X is greater. I could have put an enter, but that's okay. It's all in line. That's fine the way I have it. It actually works out better, to be honest. If you don't want an enter, you just pretty much don't put a new line at the end of your statement. X is greater, which is obviously true, right? We're returning our values to the console. And this is great for testing, guys. When you're actually creating your own little programs, it doesn't hurt to do this. Return your values so that you can see what's happening, right? So you can see what information is being outputted. Maybe you have calculations going on or something to that effect, right? So, like maybe you don't even want these returns in the console, but you do it so that, what just happened? Weird. Okay. You do that so that, for testing, right? You want to see what the values are, what's going to be returned, right? That's why we do this. Okay, there we go. And all it says is X is greater, right? Maybe that's the only return you want. These are all kind of the little nuances you could do within your code while you're creating your program and doing testing, right? When you're done with your testing and your code is running all nicely and great, right? Then you could pretty much just remove these, right? Just delete them entirely. Or just keep them commented out. I don't know. It's up to you. Again, I don't think any company's going to want you to be leaving this kind of code in, right? Because they'll be like, why is that there? It's not really what comments are for. But comments are great also for testing. Okay, guys? Quick coffee drink here. And we're going to keep going. All right, it's great to have you. It's great to have you. Thank you for being here. So there, all right? I want to quickly move forward. Sometimes I stay on a topic a little bit longer than I planned on, but there's a quick breakdown on if, else ifs, and else. Okay, we'll probably do some more in the future, most likely, but now you guys know about it, right? This is more tools in your tool chest, if you will. Again, you don't need to end. The main point also was to show you guys and gals that you don't need to end your if, else if with an else. Okay? Right? Else is not required. And going to finish here. So while an else block is often included to handle cases where none of the preceding if or else if conditions are met, so these are all the preceding ones. If none of these are met, That's why you would use an else. Okay? Again, it is not a syntactical requirement. So else is not a syntactical requirement. Not necessary. The else block is entirely optional. All right? So I'll just paste this and boom. Okay? No else block here, and the code is perfectly valid. There we go, right guys? All right, let's drop the yays and then we're gonna move forward. Drop the yays. Okay, let's clean things up and continue. We're gonna get into logical operators. They're great. So like when we speak and we talk about things like the number 2 and the number 3, we use the word and, right? Or we could say the number 2 or the number 3, right? We use the word or. Okay, we're going to get into using logical operators. Okay? It's no different than saying and or. Okay? Basically, that's what that is. And in a nutshell, I should actually, let's bring up my logical operators section here, and I'll share that with you in my 148,000 character notepad document. I know, it's quite insane, guys. A lot of it's notes and just while I've been, learning, and then just information I could reflect to use if I need to. All part of the learning and growing. Again, always learning and growing, guys and gals. Doesn't matter how old you are. And I'm sharing it with you, guys and gals, you viewers as well. Because, yeah, I want to share this with you as well. Let's see, just bear with me. I'm just kind of scrolling through the document. And I think I'm getting close. I don't know why I moved it away from data types in my... But anyways, it happened. Let's see, come on, where are you? I feel like it'd be easier if I had this sectioned off, like with a table of contents in Notepad, but it's not set up that way. I have it set up like that I actually have this file inside one of my Visual Studio programs. And of course it has line numbers and it makes it easier to find things much quicker. That's interesting. I'm going through this again. I'm sorry guys, bear with me. I want to share this with you. I have a lot here and the goal is to eventually share it all with you, but I don't want to just go through the whole document in one video. Come on, where are you? I don't know what I was thinking when I was organizing this. That's why I need an editor, I think. Because they're just here we go. I finally found it. Assignment operators. And then I get into Fmod. I don't know why it's all moved here, but anyways, I found it finally. Is that all I have for logical? Weird. Okay, we got into increment, decrement. And I'll just move this, okay, here. All right. Sharing with you guys and gals now. So we'll just quickly go over just quickly, our 6 types of comparison operators. They're all right here for you guys and gals, okay? And then just moving forward, now let's talk about logical operators, okay? Logical operators are used, is used, it just depends if you're plural, singular. Logical operator is, logical operators are used within our parentheses for test condition, okay? Whenever you have parentheses, right, beside, let's say, for example, just quickly for an example, we've talked about functions, like a void function. And then anytime you see the parentheses and then a set of curly brackets, well, that's obviously a function, right? And you have other type of functions, an int function. Let me just go like this. And then inside an int function, we might actually put another type of data. We could actually put stuff inside of it, which are basically, so when I do it like this, I'm basically putting in my parameters. And then when I have it like this, well, it's all the same. I would be putting in my argument, which could be another variable somewhere in our int main function, right? When we run the program. I'll show you how that works in the near future, guys and gals. Okay, stay tuned. I'm trying to stay focused here, and I don't want to kind of jump around between different topics. So that's why I kind of avoided it. Okay, but we'll get there, okay? Baby steps, if you will. Little bit. Okay, logical and. So you could think of it, you could say it like and. It's the ampersand. Is that what it? No, it's not called the ampersand. It's called. Why can't I think of the name of it? So I call these the pipes. I don't know why I call it a pipe, but it's above your enter, okay? Above the enter button on your keyboard or whatever. I call it a pipe. I don't know why I call it that, but I just think Mario pipe. I don't know. I don't know what else to think, right? And then this one here, is it an ampersand? Yeah, it is an ampersand. I was correct. Ampersand. I was confusing it with asterisk. My brain was just caught into my brain was caught in a bad loop. Yeah, it was. Okay? So you could say it like and with this one it's or. Okay? Or and. Okay? And then I'll just go like this so that we're clear here. Okay? Or. 2 pipes, right? Okay? There. Okay? That makes sense? So we use them for inside our test condition where we're comparing, let's say, X to Y. Okay? And you'll see. Here's an example. Okay, test condition. To be able to conditionally run code. Note that, let me just bring this back here, because when I copy and paste it, it just kind of gets all, it's not all lined up anymore, right? It's not aligned. Okay, no big deal. We'll move forward. So note that an internal function, let's say we had, I don't know, int function with an X variable and a value. Okay, it takes parameters, right? We'll talk about parameters and arguments more, and I'll kind of help you guys organize it in your head, which is what. They're both kind of the same thing. They're the same thing. It's just it's in a different sense. Okay, And I'll have to show you by example. It's just better to show you by example than to explain it. Okay, so let's say we had a for loop. All right? So we're comparing here. So what we're doing, as you can see, we have the equal to, which is also used inside our parameters. Okay? If x is equal to 8, and if y is equal to 8, right? So both have to be true. So that's what an and does. And I'm going to do a little bit of reading here in the course outline just to kind of secure and give you guys a little more reassurance, but we'll just talk about it a little bit and you can see what's happening. And I'll show you some examples in code. So when you use an and, that means this has to be true and this has to be true. So one is true, right? One is on. Basically, if this is true, this becomes a 1. If this is true, this becomes a 1 in a sense under the hood. You don't see it get changed, right? But what we type in our program, guys and gals, is something that we could read as human readable. It's human readable, right? Okay, so that's an example of a for loop. And so it takes arguments and or conditions. Okay, we call these conditions. Okay, let's move forward. And then, of course, we talked about urinary operators. You guys, if hopefully you haven't missed that and you're following the series, which is great. Okay, so and I'm just going to go like this. Let's go like this. I'm just going to go like this and like this. And I'm going to go like this. And I'm just putting it inside a multi. Just so you guys and gals have this information in front of you. Okay? Boom. All right? There we go. All right? A multi-comment is what I used. Multi-line. Okay, often you want to ask more than one relational question at a time, right? Instead of just one, we could do more than one. And that's where the and or come in. It's great, guys. It really is. It's very handy dandy. I use them a lot as well. Hence why my class is 1,400 lines long. It sounds like I got carried away, but if you know what program I'm working on, you'll understand. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm going to read the course outline. Okay, is it, so for example, in quotes, is it true that X is greater than Y? And also true that Y is greater than Z, right? A program might need to determine that both of these conditions are true, or that some other set of conditions is true, in order to take an action, okay? Now with or, like I was explaining earlier, right? The left side has to be true and the right-hand side has to be true in the test condition, right? Inside our test condition. Let me just bring that back. So I'm going to go like this. We're going to have an example for loop. Okay? And I'll just go like this so that you guys can see the setup for a for loop. All right? So the left-hand side has to be true and the right-hand side has to be true. But when you use the pipes or the or, only one of them needs to be true. Okay? Only one needs to be true for this block of code to be executed. Okay. All right, let's continue. They're really not that bad. They're actually very helpful and they're great. So again, sample for loop. I don't know if I don't think we've gone through for loops yet. We will. Stay tuned. Right. Test condition. Right, or your condition. Okay. That's what it's called. Your arguments and or your conditions. So imagine a sophisticated alarm system that has this logic. If the door alarm sounds and it is after 6 p.m. and it is not a holiday, or if it is a weekend, then call the police. Right? So that's kind of a good example, I guess. C++'s 3 logical operators are used to make this kind of evaluation. These operators are listed. Okay, so they mentioned 3, and I didn't mention the other one. Okay, hold up. I'm just gonna put it in here, okay? And then I'll just bring this over, okay? It's called the not expression. Okay, not. So with not, you use the exclamation point. And all you need is a singular one. So let's say whatever the expression could be, right? It could be, you could even use it outside your parentheses. Okay, so whatever is inside the parentheses becomes not. Expression or condition. Okay, well, this is kind of the theory part, guys and gals. Don't let this kind of, throw you off or scare you or whatever. We're just going through the theory part, and then we'll get into some examples, okay? It's all part of the learning curve. Okay, so I'll just do this quickly so that you can see. All right, I'll just go like that. That's good enough. Okay, there we go. Something for you visually. All right. Sorry, I needed to drink some coffee. It doesn't take long for me to drink it. And it's literally 20 fluid ounces. And I could just slam coffee like it's nothing. Okay, the logical and operator. A logical and statement uses the and operator to connect and evaluates 2 expressions. Okay, if both expressions are true, right? So what they mean by expressions, that's an expression. Okay, this is an expression. Okay, or you could think of them as arguments. If both expressions are true, the logical and statement is true as well, right? So they both have to be true, and the whole thing inside becomes true, essentially. Okay, if it is true that you are hungry, and it is true that you have money, okay, I'm not hungry. I don't have the money part, so thankfully I'm not hungry. Then it is true that you can buy lunch. Oh, no, I can't buy lunch. Can't afford lunch. Thus, okay, if, so I'm just going to go like this. Okay, I hope you guys don't mind, just to clean up the screen a little bit. Or or should I keep it there? Maybe I should, just for you guys and gals. All right. Okay, if test condition, right? And then your block of code. Okay, whatever you want executed. Whatever you want executed or returned to the console is inside your curly brackets. Okay, but it doesn't happen unless whatever's inside here becomes a 0 or a 1. Essentially. That's how it works. True or false. Now, we got into bedmass, padmass a little bit. And guys and gals, I recommend that parentheses. When you're doing your mathematical, let's say your math class, I highly recommend you get used to using parentheses or brackets. They really help a lot in the organization of when you're working with mathematical problems. Also, it's visually easier for us as humans to look at and go, okay, this is that part, this is that part. It creates that organization and separation, right? If you don't use brackets to organize your code, it can get confusing. It could look like a mess, right? And plus it also could look like, you know, that you don't know what you're doing either. Not saying you specifically, but any other user that might be lazy with their brackets. I use it a lot just for if you are getting like lots of arguments, right? And then you're guaranteeing also that whatever is returned to the console, you're going to get a proper calculation, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a couple of variables. Int x equals 5, and then y equals 8, for example. Okay? Notice that I put those in line. I'm just going to take this out and just put it here at the bottom. I hope that's fine. Let me just go like this. It kind of got broke there. So what I'm going to do is just go like this, like that. I do a lot of copying and pasting and moving code around. So this is what I'm used to. It's not a problem for me. Okay. So let's say if x is equal to, I don't know, 5. Okay, just we'll use that for an example. So what I'm doing here is I'm separating this argument into its own kind of, I want to use the right words. Let's just keep it simple. I'm just organizing my code so it's, I know that x is equal to 5 belongs to this. These brackets are kind of being used for organizational purposes, okay? These brackets, really, what they mean is you have to put in arguments, okay? This is going to actually break if I don't put something in there. With an if statement, you have to have at least one argument, okay? One argument meaning it has to be something, right? I have to put at least something. Like, for example, x. I could put in x. As long as x exists, this should run. Let's see if it runs. I don't know. We'll see. It should, because I have something. I'm just gonna put x, just so you can see. We'll run it. The point here is it has to have something, right? Some sort of argument. Again, with an if statement, one argument minimum. Okay, I'm going to build it and run. There we go. Look at that. Drop the A's. And yeah, your brain's going, well, that's weird. Why would it run, you know? Give me a sec here. Let's drop the A's, because why not? I don't know how to explain it other than the reason it ran is, well, one, we have at least one argument. We have something, right? If I give it nothing, then it's going to give me an error. Okay, and I'll show you. See, look, I just built it. I didn't even run it. See right here. So if you see this, and you'll see this a lot if you're working with if-else statements, okay? And it'll give you this kind of information, syntax error, and then it'll give like the right side of a bracket, and then it'll give you syntax error, semicolon, and then you'll look at the code and you'll go, well, I have a semicolon. What's the problem? There's nothing wrong here, right? That's actually not the focus. Don't even focus on this. Look at the bracket here. The bracket here actually is the this is all part of debugging and learning how to debug your code or debug the errors that are happening in your errors list. Guys, I'm helping you out here. I'm helping you out here. Huge, right? This is key. So you may or may not have forgotten the semicolon. It's possible. You know, it can happen, right? We make these sort of mistakes once in a while. It's not a big deal. Just kind of chuckle at yourself and go, oh, silly me, what was I doing, right? So that, again, you may or may not have forgotten the semicolon, okay? You'll look and you'll go, well, it's there, it's fine. It's telling me line 45, okay? Line 45 is right where the curly bracket is. So without trying to make this long story, let's make this long story shorter. Just look at, you can see the bracket here. And basically what it's saying is you're missing something inside your bracket. Okay, essentially. And now I have to hold up. Commercials. If you guys want to know a tip on getting rid of commercials, if you're watching YouTube, just hit the reload button. Okay? And also, if you don't want certain commercials being played, you could actually block those. If you look at the right side, you might see the commercial like ad or something on the right side of your tab or your browser. You could actually click the 3 vertical dots and then click block. Right? South Korea. Oh, no, they're good over there. South Korea, they're good over in South Korea. They're just like us, guys. They're just like us. They want to live the Western lifestyle. They're good people over there. So I'm not going to block their commercial, but I could have. Anyways, let's carry on. That's just a little bit of a tip. Going back to this, so that's what it's saying, right? It may not be clear what's happening here, but that's really what it is in a nutshell, okay? And again, I'm helping you guys here. Now you can actually decipher what's missing, right? Quickly. You didn't waste a whole 8-hour day of your employees' dineros and collecting a free paycheck trying to solve a problem that and all you're doing is missing an argument in your parameters. Hopefully, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there like that. Get fired. Okay. All right. Again, so you need minimum 1. Okay. Let's keep moving forward. So I'm going to, do I have that still saved in memory? No, I don't. Okay. All right. I'm just going to go like this and I'm going to show you, right? So these brackets are for arguments. Okay. But I could also use brackets for organizational purposes. Okay, that's what these brackets are doing. Okay, They're for organizational purposes. All right? That's kind of what I wanted to explain so you guys understood. Okay, so there we go. Let's continue. So now I'm going to use an and between, right? This is all part of the organizing your code into kind of, I don't want to call them blocks, but like sections. Okay? All right, you can see I have two arguments. This argument and this argument. Now I can do this without them. Okay? But sometimes you might actually have more. Right? So what do I mean by more? Well, what I mean by more is let's say I had an or. This is what I mean by more. Okay? And that's why we're using the brackets. This is a good, clear example, right? For organizational purposes. That's what these brackets are doing. They're organizing this as all left side of this, and this as all right side of this. And all this is inside of this, right? So this is left side of this, right? As you can see, that makes sense? All right. Now, if you just have two arguments, this is an argument, this is an argument, you don't really need the extra brackets. But again, as coders, if you like being organized, you can add them. You can add them if you want. It's up to you. I highly recommend when you have other arguments or more arguments, you use the extra brackets just to create that separation and distinction in code. My bad, guys. I cannot speak today. Broken toes and taking days off and just working and not talking. When I'm working, guys, I'm working, right? I'm not usually, well, mind you, I have my kid. For some reason, he wants to eat. I don't know. So he makes me get up to go eat, make him food. Crazy how these kids nowadays like food. It's wild. Like, who would have thought it, you know? Alright, so yeah, those are my tips. That's my advice, right? Don't be lazy with the brackets or the parentheses. The parentheses, Kelly Clarkson! God. Give me some money so I could, like, buy some speaking lessons. Commercials. All right, don't be lazy with your brackets. They're important. Again, in mathematics, I recommend you use them as well. I'll use them in code as well for just to be clear with the compiler. Hey, this is what I want you to run, and this part I want you to run, right? I want to separate it. Again, the compiler, we'll just call it the compiler, uses BEDMAS, PEDMAS rules. It follows the rules. It truly does. Okay? Also, again, let's be clear. The compiler is 99.9 repeating times 99.99 repeating percent correct. Okay? If you're getting a weird result or an output, it's user problem, okay? It's a user problem, all right? Just to be clear, all right? So suck it up, figure it out, debug your code, and get it to work. Because that's what you do. put your nose to the grindstone. Start grinding. Okay, so here we go. So with this statement, right? So this has to be true. In order for this to execute, again, remember, both sides must be true because it's an and. That's why. If it's an or, this will still execute. Okay? Because one is true. Because X is true. Right? And I could put it in else. Something to the effect of, I don't know, it could be anything, right? Because Y and X and Y is true, right? Okay, so let me show you, right? You can see my local variables here, okay, guys? You can clearly see that X equals 5 and Y equals 8, okay? Building, running, boom, because X is true. So it ran this block of code because X is true, right? So to be clear, right, only one side needs to be true. And I could switch it I could change Y to 5 and X to 8. And then now, in this case, now it's going to be Y is true. So check it out. This is how you test your code, right? You do little different things, different subtleties. Again, it ran the same block of code. This time Y was true, right? Now check it out. So let's put and. And in this case, it's because I'm just going to leave it because X is false. I'm just going to put because X is false, all right? Just so we're clear about what's happening. And then I'll run that. We're just doing simple if-else blocks of code statements here, guys and gals. Real simple stuff. Because X is false, right? So it ran this block of code, right? It's just an else. So if that's what an else is, guys, right? If everything else doesn't work, if all else fails, just else an else. Essentially, that's what an else is for. If everything else fails, you could have 1,000 else if statements. You could have like 1,000 of them. Okay? Now, if none of them are true, then you use an else statement. Again, you don't need an else statement. You don't have to have an else statement. It's not mandatory. And what was that other word that they used? It is not a syntactical requirement. Okay? But if you want at least something to execute, use an else statement. It's kind of like the final last stand, the final thing, you know? All right? Again, when you use an else if we're going to talk about else if again, an else if has a block of code, right? Notice the syntax differences here, guys and gals. Okay? An if statement always has what do they call it again? What's the term? Conditions, right? Test conditions, right? That would be something I would call it, right? Same thing with an else if. An else if also takes test conditions or arguments. Okay? Oh, goodness gracious. Right? That's kind of what I'm trying to explain here. And then else takes nothing. It's got nothing. All it takes is two curly brackets. Okay, that's it. Right? Notice the little different subtleties the way you write your code. Okay? This is all part of the learning, right? The more you grind, these things you'll remember, because a lot of times you'll be like, maybe when you're learning, you might start typing an else and put you might end up putting a set of parentheses with your else statement, and then you get this kind of break in code. Visual Studio is great. This is immediately telling me that I have something wrong with what I've typed. This is the program telling me, hey, Bob, you're doing something wrong. You got something you're not typing properly, right? As soon as I get rid of that, it should fix. Well, it did, but let me show you something else. It didn't, like, you might think this might jump over. You actually have to manually move it, right? But check it out. Let me just delete that. And let me show you. If you type it properly. Oh, right. I know why it's doing that. I know exactly why it's doing that. It's because I had an else. You can't have an else after an else. That's why it's doing that. Okay, let me get rid of this, just so you can see. Okay, that's the other thing. You can't have an else immediately after another else. Okay, no bueno. Oh, goodness gracious. Right? No bueno. No bueno. You would have to fix it by putting an if statement in front of it. That would fix it. Okay, but anyways, with that said, let me just delete this. If I go else, let me just show you so you can see. If I go like this and like this, okay, it actually lined it up, but I'm going to still have issues. I was expecting it to be kind of derped like that. But my point is there are no parentheses with the else. That's kind of what I wanted to show you, right? Or explain. All right, it's doing that because my test condition's incorrect as well, right? Okay, let's continue. The logical not. Okay, this is a good one too. So we're going to simplify this. Okay. And here's where you use the, so here, as you can see, I don't have any extra brackets for organizational purposes. I just have the normal parentheses that take arguments. Okay. Okay. The normal parentheses that take arguments. All right. So, with that said, let's go x is equal to 5. Okay, so I have one argument inside. I don't need any extra brackets. I don't need any organizational parentheses, right? If you want to call them that. If you add in additional parentheses, you're just adding in organizational parentheses. That's all you're doing for organizational purposes only. All right? Not required if you only have one. Okay? One argument. Okay? This being, all of that is one argument. Okay, guys? Now, if x is equal to 5, print this. But here's something that's great. Okay? So what I'm going to do here is, Now, I recommend that you actually use the organizational parentheses for this, because what we're going to get into is called the logical knot. I should have wrote that, but okay, the logical knot. I'm just fixing it up here in my and then I'm going to show this to you guys. Okay, all right, here we go. Okay, the logical knot is the exclamation point. Okay, and I didn't really show that here, but I will. Exclamation point. Okay, it's right beside your number 1 on your keyboard. Same button. Okay. All right, so with the logical knot, a logical knot statement evaluates true if the expression being tested is false. So think of the logical knot like a switch. Okay, think of it like a switch. Okay, so as soon as you put an exclamation point, let's say this was 0. So what happens is, if I delete that, let's say originally, let me just go like this. I'm gonna go like this because it'll be clear. Okay, so let's say originally it was 0. Okay, now I'm putting 0. It'll actually run. Well, it won't because it's technically false. One it'll run because it's true, right? 1 is on, 0 is off. So what happens here if I put a not symbol? Let's say I use my organizational brackets. Okay, I'll use my organizational brackets. It doesn't matter. Okay, actually this is how I'm supposed to do it, as a matter of fact. Okay, so there, I used a not. As soon as I used a not, that basically switched this to a 1. That's really what it does, in the sense. You don't see that happening under the hood, but let's say, for example, if x is equal to 5, essentially we can see that x is equal to 8 right now, right? Okay, I'm gonna delete that. Let's go back up here. I'm putting a not. Okay, so now basically I've made this go from, well, originally being false to now true. And you'll see, it'll run, it'll execute, because now, again, think of the exclamation point like a switch. All right, so whatever's inside is the opposite. So if it is false right now, the switch, the exclamation point, makes it true. Okay, check it out. I hope that makes sense. Man, I'm trying to explain this, right? See what it does? It's amazing. It's so great. It just depends on what you want to do in your code, right? Your arguments, whatever is inside, whatever you have for arguments. As a matter of fact, I could use a not right there. So now 2 of them, they actually cancel each other out. If you're good at mathematics, you'll understand 1 divided by 1. Well, guess what? The numerator 1 and the denominator 1, they cancel each other out, making it 1, essentially, right? If you go 1 divided by 1, well, what does it become? 1, right? But anyways, It's kind of like factoring and stuff. If you factored a 2 in the numerator and you factored a 2 in the denominator, essentially the 2's cancel each other out. It's no different. If I have x is not equal to 5, because this is actually a statement or an operator. Let's go there. Let me show you. It's one of the operators, guys and gals. Look. See? A not equal to, right? You can use not equal to as well inside with your arguments. Okay, isn't this awesome? Oh man, this is so great! I love this stuff! Ah! Ah! Right? So right now, x is not equal to 5. Okay, so this is actually true right now. You have to think of it logically, right? You can put whatever you want inside here for your arguments. You're the creator. It's your code. It just depends on what you want for a result or an outcome, right? It just depends on what you want. You're the intelligent one. You could actually come up with those thoughts and think of it yourself on what to do. Once you learn all the theory and all the syntax and the semantics and all those things, there's nothing wrong with going on, like researching, Google search something for, information, maybe some lines of code or maybe certain whatever you need as extra research. Or you could also learn from others too in regards to like how some people type their code. You can learn from other people too. Anyways, the point is, you're the creator, you're the coder, you write it how you want to write it. Again, once you learn the theory and everything, the world's your oyster. All right? And then you can come up with something, anything, and create it. Make something happen. Make the magic happen. All right, so x is not equal to 5, which is actually true because x is not equal to 5. So this will actually run, right? Okay, and then I'll just, I don't know, because x is false. So we'll just switch it just to see, right? All right, so building, okay. If I run it, and I'll just do this, I'm going to keep the organizational brackets for now. I don't really need them, but I'll run it. It'll still run, guys. Like, you can put them in. It doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay, so here we go. Check it out. Okay. Why do I have Y? Because, hang on, hold up. Because, let me just get this right. If x is not equal to 5, because x is not equal to 5, which is true, which equals true, right? Let me just, so that it makes sense. Where did I copy that from? There. Let's see. X, which... Okay, which is... Hold up. My brain is getting broken right now thinking about this. My brain's stuck in a for loop. If x is not equal to 5, right, which is true. Okay, if it's false, because x is equal to 8, we'll change the value. Okay, there we go. All right, let's run it. I don't want to confuse you here. I'm trying to give you good, clean, concise examples here. All right, so it ran this block of code because x is not equal to 5, which is true, right? Okay, so check this out. Now we'll go back to the not, right? This is where you put the not. That's why you use the organizational brackets. You can't put it outside here. Okay, it has to be inside. Okay, not. Okay, so now it's switched, right? So remember I said if you have two exclamation points, essentially it's canceling each other out. So if you cancel this one with this one, basically this is saying x is equal to 5. So let's see how that works, right? Essentially x is equal to 5, but it's not. Yeah, that's right. You got to kind of just stop and think about it a little bit. Deeper thoughts, right? Okay, to see if it logically makes sense. And it's true. X is equal to 8. It's not equal to 5. Okay, but what we're saying here essentially is x is equal to 5. That's kind of my point. All right, there we go. See, and it ran this block of code because x is equal to 8. Right, which is false essentially. But man, I hope you guys understand it. I hope so. I'm trying to keep it as simple, as straightforward as possible, but it's pretty magical. It really is. This stuff's amazing. Remember, if you have two knots, you're canceling each other out. Essentially, that's what happens. It's no different than, let's say I had 8. I'm going to go like this so you can see what I'm trying to get at. I'm going to do like a fake mathematical process here. I'm going to go 8 divided by, I don't know, 16 we'll say. Okay? Just as an example. Okay? So I'm going to factor, right? I love math. Okay? Really, fractions. A lot of people get scared of this stuff, man. It's crazy. And yeah, imagine, educated country boy, smarter. Drives you wild, doesn't it? Okay, check this out. I majored in mathematics, so I loved it. So here we go. Factoring 101. Okay, what times 2 equals 8? Oh my god, that was so hard! Oh my god, how hard is factoring? Oh, the humanity! It's really easy. I don't know why people make it more difficult. What times 2 equals 16? Oh, well, that's 8! Okay, so my point here is the 2's cancel each other out. So what are we left with? We are left with... I could actually factor more. We're not quite fully reduced. A lot of people fall asleep in fractions class. It's really not that hard. Especially if you're multiplying and dividing. It's way easier than adding and subtracting. Way easier. So I could actually factor again. Right? I should pull the biggest meat off the bone is what I call it. And actually factor out 4 instead. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and then whoops. This is why I didn't like teaching math in this. I'm gonna pull the biggest meat off the bone. 1 times 4 equals 4. Oh no, it's difficult. 2. 1 and 2, I mean. Oh, what are we left with? We are left with. There we go. Some math fractions 101 for you guys and gals. Not so hard. We're left with 1 over 2, right? As expected, right? And so I know that was kind of extra and redundant. I didn't need to go into that, but I just wanted to show you, right? It's no different. Think of it like that. If you have 2 knots, they're essentially canceling each other out the same way you would be canceling this 2. This 2 divides... These 2's cancel each other out. They become 1. These 4's cancel each other out. They become 1, right? That's kind of the main point of that. What I wanted to bring up. Okay? If you understand that, you'll understand that. Short circuit evaluation. How much time are we at here? How are we doing? Okay. got a half an hour, give or take. I'm almost out of coffee, which sucks. Sad face. Help out with the coffee fund. That'd be great. Remember, sharing is caring. And yeah, advertising has all the money. So right, the more sharing, the equals the advertising could pay me for what I'm doing, right? And it doesn't have to come out of your guys' pocket. Again, you could always buy me coffee if you'd like, which would be awesome. And we can keep this train going, right? If you're enjoying the content, man, I love doing this for you. I love doing this for you, right? I want to help you guys. If you're younger than me, most likely you are. I want to help you learn, right? Because you're the future. You're the future. You're the future. Coffee time. And that is it. I just ended that cup of coffee. Okay. Moving forward, excuse me guys, I'm trying to stay on topic. I'm also, right? That's kind of my point here, right? I'm staying on topic. I'm not going off on, I do go on the tangents, but I do my best to stay related to what we're talking about or related to what we're doing. Or maybe it's just a little side story or something in my life I'll share with you. Okay? I'm not forcing my opinions or thoughts on you and saying, hey, you must be this way or you get canceled. Right? I'm not doing any of that. I'm here helping you get better, helping you learn, helping you grow without anything else. So my point here is I'm staying on topic and I'm teaching what's supposed to be taught. Hence what teachers are supposed to be doing. Teaching what they're supposed to be teaching. Let's go. Short circuit evaluation. When the compiler is evaluating and statements such as, okay, the compiler is making the magic happen. I'm going to get rid of all of this here, guys and gals, okay? All right, and we're going to write something different. If I know we're kind of going into this a little bit, but these and ors are really helpful when you start getting into, let's say you're working on a program and there's more than one variable. There's more than two. Obviously, you're going to have at least minimum two variables. This is a variable and this is a variable. You got to at least have two minimum, right? Otherwise, you can't do any calculations, really. Well, I guess you could if you multiply it by 1, but really, what's that doing? But anyways, when the compiler is evaluating, and I kind of got thrown off topic, but that's okay. Hopefully, my thoughts will come back to my head. So we're gonna use parentheses to kind of organize our code. And then we're going to say x is equal to 5 and y is equal to 5. Okay, so if this is true and this is true, meaning if they're both true, the compiler evaluates the truth of the first statement. Okay, let's try to understand how the compiler is doing the magic under the hood. Okay. And if this fails, okay, so if this fails, that is if x is not equal to 5, the compiler does not go on to evaluate the truth or false, right? Okay? This is actually a good statement right here. I'm going to share this with you, okay, just so you can visually see here. I'm going to use a multi. And I'm just going to paste this here, okay? So you could read this yourself. All right, so with what is happening up here, okay, if this fails, that is, x is not equal to 5, the compiler does not go on to evaluate the truth of the other side. Essentially, that's what it's saying. So if this is not true, right, because it's an and, it'll check this. If this is false, it just jumps to the next thing, which could be an else if, right, for example. Right? It just jumps to the next block of code, if you will. Okay? That's what it does. So if this is all part of understanding what happens when you run stuff, right? You can I call it thinking like a computer, right? Again, country over here. And I could think like a computer. And I love dirt biking. Yeah! And mathematics. The compiler evaluates blah, 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 second statement, right? Because and requires both to be true. Right? Because and requires both to be true. All right, similarly, if the compiler is evaluating an or statement, okay, if the first statement is true, okay, if it was, right, in this case it's false, right, the compiler never evaluates the second. So let's make this 5. Hold up. Let's just hold up. Let's think about this, okay? Okay, if x is equal to 5, or remember, only one of them needs to be true with an or, right? So it's not an and situation, it's an or. Okay, right? Make sense? So if x is equal to 5, which is not true, it'll go to this and check this. And this becomes true, so that means it'll execute this block of code. Okay? Because y is equal to 5. All right, so an or, it'll check this, and because it's an or, it'll jump to here and check this. Okay, make sense? If the first statement is true, the compiler never. So let's say this was switched, right? Let me switch this, just so you understand, right? So this is an or. Because this is true, it actually just goes straight to executing. It doesn't even need to check this one. You understand, guys? Okay, so this is understanding how a computer kind of does its magic, right? If this is true, the compiler is like, oh, it's an or. I don't need to check the other one because only one of them needs to be true, right? So because x is 5, it executes this block of code. All right. Although this might not, seem important, consider the following example. You could have stuff like this. This is wild. Okay. I don't normally do this myself, but you could actually plus a value inside. Again, this is an argument, right? If plus y. If you guys missed the section on increment and decrement operators, I recommend you go back, however many videos it was, 1 or 2 videos, and check that out. I'm not going to go into explaining what's happening here because this is a lecture, this is a course outline, and we're trying to keep things going. And also in respect to those that are actually following the series and are up to par and playing golf with Johnny here on WhiskeyTango Sharp Coding. Those that are up to par and playing golf with Johnny, You know, I'm going to keep moving forward for their sake, for them, right? Because they've already seen it, right? Again, we're moving forward, and it's great to have you. It truly is. When you go back a couple of videos and watch, you know, that section on increment and decrement operators, and you get back to here, I'll be like, hey, welcome back, man. It's so great to have you back. This is amazing. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. It's been a few video minutes, but man, it's great to have you back. This is so awesome. You beautiful, intelligent person. I love it. Again, if you hit the play button, you're automatically guaranteed, in my mind, to be thought of as an intelligent person because you hit play, right? I don't want to go on a tangent here, but people that are scared of math and scared of fractions and scared of learning, they're not clicking the play button. Okay, just being real. Okay, I'm real, right? And that's called real. And I'm okay with that. Okay, if they don't want to learn and grow, well then, you know, that's their loss. Okay, they're only failing themselves. All right, so if x is not equal to 5, then plus y equals to 3 is not evaluated. If you're counting on y to be incremented regardless, it might not happen. So plus y, well, y essentially is going to be 9, I would imagine. I never ran it. So let me just I want to see something here. This is wild. I've never done this sort of thing, but I'm just intrigued to see what it says. And I'm just going to return y, and I don't know, we'll just we'll go like this, and if block, I'm just going to go if block, and then I'm going to call the other one the else if block, right? I do this sort of stuff in code just to see which block runs. A lot of times you can figure it out, but okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to 9 just to see what's up. Okay, syntax. Oh, my block of code here, that's why. Else if, I don't know, in this case, I'm just going to do the opposite, I guess. I'll just throw a not. It should work. So essentially what it's telling me here, I'm already used to this error. It's not really an error. We're just missing information. That's all it is, right? The compile, it's before you even run it, you'll get what's called pre-runtime errors, okay? And that's what this is. So I just put a not here on that, and we'll see what happens. Okay, got rid of that. Let's run it. Okay, there we go. So it returned y is 8. Plus y is 8. That's true. Okay, well, plus y. Yeah. If we went plus y, it makes sense. I understand now. So this will become 9, and 9 does equal to 9. So essentially, that is true. That is true. Both. So this is an or. I guess I could have left it as and. It wouldn't have mattered. I think that's what's happening under the hood here. That's kind of neat. Not something I normally do, but that's kind of cool. Things you learn. There's always little things that you could learn and do different. When writing line code. A lot of people have their own unique style. Coding and line coding, you have to follow the basic guidelines of the way you write your syntax, but there's little subtleties here and there that you could do that makes it different. Like this, for example. right? It's not a common thing you'll see, but it's something you could do, which is kind of neat. Relational precedence. Like all C++ expressions, the use of relational operators and logical operators each return a value, true or false, right? It's either 1 on or 0 off. Like all expressions, they also have a precedence order. Okay, and we'll see that in a future course outline here, that determines which relations are evaluated first. The fact is important when determining the value of statements such as, right? So here I'm going to type something. Okay, whoops. When you're deleting stuff, make sure you delete everything. I'm going to go like this instead, because I'm going to need another if block. Okay, and I'm going to go x is greater than 5. This is where not using your organizational brackets can make things look a little confusing. It'll still run. Again, it's kind of like the bedmass, pedmass thing. Now I need a new variable called, I don't know, z, which is going to be equal to, I don't know, we'll say 5 for now. It don't matter. Okay. Okay, so, like you guys can see, right? Look, doesn't this look messy to the eyes, right? For us, it's like, oh my goodness, my brain just broke. What is there, right? The parentheses make things so great in organizing stuff, right? So what you're doing here essentially is saying, I want this checked. All of this has to be true, right? It's that kind of situation, guys and gals, right? All of this has to become 1 in order to execute. Or, right? So it's a left side or a right side thing, right? That's why you hear left-hand side equals right-hand side stuff a lot. Okay? So if y is greater than 5, which is true, and if x is greater than 5, which is false, and y is greater than 5, which is true, or z is greater than 5. Actually, none of them are going to return because neither one of them are true. But anyways, let me just read the outline they have here. This is kind of the explaining what the compiler runs and what the compiler doesn't run. Especially if you have no brackets, right? Normally, guys and gals, the code's written like this, where everything is quite cluttered, right? So I'll spread it out so that you can actually, because humanly, as a human, if you don't understand what each character is doing, the syntax, then I could totally see people going, oh my God, it's too much. Oh, the humanity. And then they start running around their house with their arms flailing up in the air, screaming like a banshee, going, I'm a Walmart temper tantrum baby. Running around, and all of a sudden they trip over their shoelaces, even though they're not wearing shoes, and they trip over their shoelaces and fall onto their face, sort of thing, right? They, they go into over dramatic panic mode. I sure hope their face is okay. Anyways, continuing on. It might be that the programmer wanted this expression to evaluate true if both x and y are greater than 5. Okay, it's possible, yes. On the other hand, the programmer might have wanted the expression to evaluate true only if x is greater than 5. Right? You can see how it could become a disorganized mess, right? Again, brackets, parentheses, lives matter. Okay. Okay. Have wanted this. Okay. I'll read that again. On the other hand, the programmer might have wanted this expression to evaluate true only if x is greater than 5, and if it is also true that either y is greater than 5 or z is greater than 5. Z, Z, whatever. Tomato, tomatoes. Potatoes, potatoes. Doesn't really matter. It all cooks the same, boys and girls. Anyways, if x is 3 and y and z are both 10, let's go. X is 3, y and z are both 10. I'm going to do this just so you guys and gals can see it. Right? I'm going to get rid of this. Put it down here just so you can see it. All right? If x is 3 and y and z are both 10, the first interpretation is true. Z is greater than 5, so ignore x and y. But the second is false. It isn't true that x is greater than 5, and thus it doesn't matter what is on the right side of the and symbol, because both sides must be true. Okay, makes sense? I hope so. Although precedence determines which relation is evaluated first. Okay, parentheses can both change the order and make the statement clearer, right? Like I've already been kind of explaining. But this reiterates things and puts a lot more reassurance into what's going on. Okay, for you guys and gals, right? Now we're breaking things into its own individual parts. Right? Hold up. I got that wrong one there, right? I've already messed up. So, right there. So now this becomes a left side, and this is a right side. So everything inside has to become true in order to execute. Okay? You guys are following along, right? I hope so. These little details are important so you understand what's happening when you write code, right? Okay, using the values from earlier, this statement is false because it is not true that x is greater than 5. Okay? The left side and the statement fails. Okay? The left side of the and statement fails, right? The left side of the and fails, okay? And thus the entire statement is false, right? So as soon as this becomes false, it just, again, jumps to the next whatever's happening. It could be an else statement, right? Okay. All right, let's see. Using the values from earlier, the statement is false because it is not true that x is greater than 5. The left side and the and statement fails, and thus the entire statement is false, right? Everything becomes false, essentially. Remember that and statement requires that both sides be true, okay? The left side and the right side of an and has to be true. They both have to be equal to 1. So this has to be like a switch. This becomes a 1 and this becomes a 1, right? On, this executes. All right. Something isn't both good tasting and good for you, it isn't good tasting. It's kind of I don't know if it's a euphemism, but if it's not good taste, okay, let's see. If something isn't both good tasting and good for you, if it isn't good tasting, right? Yeah, well, okay. If it isn't good tasting, yeah, then definitely both are not true. It is often a good idea to use extra parentheses to clarify what you want to group. I've already kind of explained all this stuff. Like, I guess I know this stuff ahead of time, but that's okay. We'll reiterate just to give you guys that additional reassurance that, you know, what's being taught here is true. Okay? Remember, the goal is to write programs that work and that are easy to read and to understand, right? That's all part of the human readability too, right? Being organized with your code using parentheses, it's a win-win. Plus, it makes you look good. It makes you look, let's use the word in double quotes, professional, okay? Using parentheses help to clarify your intent and avoid errors that come from misunderstanding operator precedence, right? I mean, the compiler could probably, it'll run, right? It'll obviously run. It'll make its own interpretation and it'll give you a result or an outcome that you might not expect, right? If you don't use brackets or organizational brackets, okay? More about truth and falsehood. In C++, 0 evaluates the false, and all other values evaluate the true. So here's something cool, guys, right? Remember earlier how I put just a number in, right? This is I've already been showing you this, right? So if it's, let me just show you. Watch, check this out. Okay. This is a cool thing to understand too. So essentially this is 1. Okay, I'm just gonna go like that. Okay, and then I'll just do this. Okay. All right. If it's 0, it'll execute this, right? It'll execute. Well, it doesn't really matter, right? Okay. So when I run this, what do you expect to happen? We get 1, right? We get 1 because, well, 0 is always false, right? So I could actually put just a number 0 in there, right? And that automatically makes this false just by putting 0. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild sauce? And I could go 0. I could put 0, which is actually 0 stored in there, and it'll do the same thing. Okay, just another way of doing it, right? The variable 0 actually is initialized to 0, just so you know. Let's go. Turn that up. Drop the yays, because why not? And yays are fun. I am out of coffee. I'm going to finish up here, guys and gals. And then we'll continue the content tomorrow. Where are we at here? Okay, so take note, right? So if I go int 1 equals to 1, right? I could do 2 things. I could put 1. Whoops. Right? And then this becomes 1. And this becomes 0. Because essentially I'm switching it, right? Okay, so go like this. I'm going to build it. And we should still expect to see 1, right? This is probably the simplest way to show it here, guys and gals. Okay? The simplest way. If it's 1, well, that becomes true, right? So when it executes this block of code, this is executed. You can see it. It's only going to execute what you're printing out to the screen, right? Okay? And I could do the same thing. I could go like this, and we would actually use a symbolic literal, right? What I'm using there is a symbolic literal, and we should still get 1. Okay, let's go. All right, this is the way to do it, right? We don't normally put in a number value, but just so you're aware, if you put 0, this block of code becomes, essentially this will never get run. If this is 0, if I go, I'm just going to go like this. Okay. If I actually do this, this block of code will never get executed. It'll never get executed because it's always going to be false, guys. That's why. Right? We have to be able to change the value of 0, right? We don't have any extra statements to change the value of 0. If we go plus 0, that would do it. That would work, right? We have to be able to increase its value, right? I could pre or post. It's fine posting when you're doing stuff like that, right? Okay, so if I just go, let me just comment this out for now, okay? Check it out. That's the only way you could actually make a block of code execute is by doing this. Okay, so, but let's check it out. Hopefully I don't have anything messed up. Okay, so we get 1, right? We get 1 because it's going to execute the else statement, right? If this doesn't execute, it's going to do the else, right? And this is feasible. Okay, so now if I go like this, essentially I'm incrementing 0. Let me just, how do I do this? I got to switch this in order for you to see it. Okay. Just so you can see this block of code being executed. That's the only way it's going to work, right? Okay, and run. There we go. Boom. 1. Okay. Right? You see that? Do you see it? Oh, the alarm and doorbell whistles and all those things are going off in your head, aren't they? That's pretty awesome. Isn't it cool? Buongiorno! Let's go. Buongiorno. Much love. Thank you for showing up. I gotta say hello to you again. Let's go. We are gonna change that back. I like to do that for whoever shows up, says hello. Let's go. Hello. Buongiorno. Ah, man. You're awesome, awesome, brother. You truly are. Appreciate you being here, dropping by, showing the love. That is so cool of you. So cool. I don't usually get to chat very much, but I try. Check every once in a while. Make sure we're good. Let's go. Okay, so you guys following along? Right? So if I go like this, comment that out, build it, we should get, this is, it'll still actually execute this, right? So essentially what I'm doing is switching the values again, right? We got to make the code work, guys, right? So it makes sense, okay? The point to take here is that if it's 0, it will never execute, right? If we put 0 in there, this will never execute, never. It'll never execute. It'll always return the else statement, okay? Be aware of that. Okay, in C++, 0 evaluates to false. All other values, right? Here's the other thing to take note. It doesn't have to be 1. I mean, Yeah, it doesn't have to be 1. I could actually put something else. I could put, I don't know, 15. Let's go 15. Okay. I can't even type. Oh my God. Okay, I'm at this point, I don't even care. Okay, so if I put 15, I'm going to get rid of that and actually put in 15. Well, at first I could go 15, right? I'm going to put 15 here, and then this will be, I don't know, 0, I guess, right? So I'm going to build it. What? What just broke? Hold up. 44. Okay, I'm gonna do some undos here. Okay, I think something broke when I was doing. If all else fails, just go backwards a little bit. Let's build that again. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're fine. All right, I'm gonna just type his name. I think it was a copy and paste that I did, and I'm just gonna write his name. Why do I have a? Okay, I'm gonna go like this. B-O-N. I'm always copying and pasting so I don't do any mistakes. Okay, there we go. Good. All right. What is up? Okay, there we go. All right, back to what I was doing. Okay, and then I'm gonna get rid of this, and I'm gonna actually put the number 15 in there. First, we're gonna do that. And then I'm gonna put 0. Build this. Okay, good. F5. There we go. See? So that's the point, guys and gals. Now, I actually had that statement too, which I kind of let's put that back. Okay. 0. Oh my goodness gracious. I hate typing. Hate's a strong word, I know. 0 evaluates to false, and all other values evaluate to true. Okay, so it could be anything 1 and greater. Okay? Any number, I could put 1, as long as it's not 0, right? 0 and greater. Okay? And I could do the same thing by putting a symbolic constant in, and it'll execute the same thing. 15. All right? Okay, okay, let's see. Let's carry on. If x has non-zero value set to 0, this is a bit of a cheat. It would be clearer to write. If x is not equal to 0, x equals 0. Yeah, I guess you could do that, right? It's no different. We could go like this. We could go like this. I'm going to make x 0. I'm going to get rid of this. And we could go like this. And we could go if x, right? We could do the same thing, right? Just like I was saying, right? So it's going to be 0. And this will actually be 1, right? Just so you can see. So we made x 0. It's going to execute 1, right? Which is true. Okay? Because x is 0. That's not on. That's off. Okay? If x has a non-zero value, set it to 0. This is a bit of a cheat. It would be clear if we could write it like this, right? X, and this is the way we would normally write it, not equal to 0. That's what you would see for your argument. Okay, that's an example of an argument. If x is not equal to 0, right? But x is equal to 0, right? So we can run it. We'll still get 1, right? We're saying here x is not equal to 0. Well, that's not true, right? This is actually still false. Okay, that's why 1 ran. Both statements are legal, but the latter is clearer. Okay, this is the latter, right? This is the way you would write it. But it would still work. It still works if you just put x. Okay, but that's not how code is written. That's not very professional, right? This is being kind of explicit. That's that word explicit again, right? We're being explicit to what we wanted to do. Okay, rather than for testing for non-zero values, right? Yeah. These two statements are also equivalent. If not x, right? We could do that as well. If not x, right? If it's not x, if x is false, 0. Let's just see what it does. If not x, it returns 0. Right? If it's not 0, you know what I mean? That's why I executed it. Because it became true, right? X, it's the switch, right? Remember that, guys. Right? Remember that. The exclamation point is basically a switch. It turns something from, it turns a value from being 0 to 1, or vice versa. Okay? Just think of the exclamation point as a switch. It acts like a switch. Da, 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 da. Okay, I just want to keep this for future reference. Okay, boom. All right, just adding to my notes there. Okay, and then we could also put, like, which is normal, we could also put x is equal to 0, right? And this is the way we would write things too. This is, we're being explicit. This is the way code is written properly, right? This is the proper way of writing our arguments. Okay, and then I could run it. We should get 0. Okay, there we go. Boom. Right? Because x is equal to 0. Okay, the second statement, however, is somewhat easier to understand and it is more explicit if you are testing for mathematical value of x rather than for its logical state, right? Does that make sense, guys? This is its logical state, right? Again, we're testing for the mathematical value of x rather than for its logical state. Okay, if x is equal to 0, boom. Okay, that's a good statement there too. And I like that. I like that. That's good. That's good stuff. And I'm just going to go like this and like this. Okay? Just so you guys and gals have it. You can reflect on it in the future videos. Just some notes, additional notes and information. Okay? So another way of going through your code is using the right side here. It's kind of nice, especially if you have like long code. It's a nice little scroll through. Okay. All right, I think that's it. That should be it for today. Do put parentheses around your logical tests to make them clearer and to make them precedence explicit. That's kind of the using brackets. It makes it precedence explicit. That's the key word, right? Precedence explicit. So let's say we had this and we had an and y is equal to 10, for example. Okay, using the I call them organizational brackets or parentheses, but again, you can look at it. We're being precedence explicit. We're being clear with the compiler what we want it to do. Okay, it's kind of putting everything in its own block or section or part, or making it its own identity, if you will. Do use braces in nested if statements to make the else statements clearer and to avoid bugs. Right, so basically what they're saying is don't be cheap with your curly brackets, okay? Don't use just X as a synonym, okay? Okay, don't do that, okay? Don't use if X as a synonym for if X is not equal to 0, okay? This is don't do, and this is yes do. Oh, that's supposed to be equal, okay? That's a yes do. Don't use if not X as a synonym if for, right? So we don't go, right? What they're saying is don't use not X. Okay? No. Okay? Be explicit with what you want. The key point there was it's easier to understand and is more explicit if you are testing for mathematical value of X rather than for its logical state. Okay, the next thing we're going to get into, guys, the ternary operator. The ternary! The ternary! I love the ternary. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, guys and gals, that is it. Johnny with Whiskey Sharp Coding, Whiskey Tango Sharp Coding. I appreciate you alls, every single one of you, for the support and for viewing. Let me just take some quick notes here. What? Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna go, whatever, good enough. Okay, we're slowly getting through the course outline. Again, guys and gals, thank you for understanding. I'm trying to, make sure I explain and be clear and go through examples, and so that you can fully understand, right? That's the goal. Okay, appreciate you watching, following this lecture course. Again, that's what this is, a lecture course. Kelly Clarkson! A lecture/course, okay? I'm not doing a 5-minute video on this is how you use X as a variable to get, 1 million clicks on a short. Don't care. Don't care. I care that you learn and understand the theory and see all the different examples that we could do. It's great. Great to have y'all. That is it. Johnny Whiskey Tango. Sharp Coding. I appreciate y'all. See you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, evening, night, sandwich. Much love. That is it. I'll see you guys. Yeah, that's it. I need to shut up now. Take care now, guys. Peace out. Peace.